Hello everybody, my name is Anson, welcome to a brand new Let's Play series in Hearts of Iron 4. Today we're going to be playing the Calm Before the Storm mod. I don't think I've played this mod on the channel before. Essentially, it's just like it's a revamped World War II mod. It should be better than vanilla, but that's not saying too much, because basically everything is going to be a little bit better than vanilla. So unlike vanilla, we are starting off in 1933, so we have 6 years, 6.5-ish years, to prepare for the Second World War. As you can see, like, China over here is a little bit more warlordy. I'm sure there's probably some other differences as well, just kind of out and about in the world. But we're going to be playing today as the Soviet Union, because I don't think I played the Soviet Union in vanilla at all, or even any World War II mod, at least that I can think of. So, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. The USSR, under the leadership of General Secretary Joseph Stalin, is the greatest country in the world. Well, that's what the papers say. The truth is, the USSR is rather in dire straits. After outmaneuvering his political opponents, Stalin finally assumed the position of General Secretary in 1929. Unquestioned, and his authority has only been growing. Though he only formally became General Secretary 4 years ago, he had been exercising an increasing amount of control since Vladimir Lenin's death. A close associate of Lenin, Stalin formally calls his ideology Marxism-Leninism, which the ruling Communist Party claims is the only true successor to Lenin's thought. Though Stalin has continued the autocratic system established by Lenin, he has slowly increased the intensity. A personality cult has formed around both leaders, and Stalin makes even greater use of concentration camps, though Stalin's own views of economic, social policy, and religion have prevailed over Lenin's. The USSR was established after the Russian Civil War, fought between the radical leftist Reds and the anti-leftist Whites, and a variety of nationalist movements from November 1917 to from October 1922. The Reds would eventually win out. This came at a great cost. Due to the Soviet agricultural policies and terror against the population from nearly all sides, the economy has been destroyed, and a famine struck in 1921, lasting until 1923. By the end of it, about 10 million people had died. Over the course of over these 5 years, the USSR has gone from a limited-party social democracy to a one-party autocracy ruled by Lenin's Bolsheviks. The head of the state, as heads of state and government, though these are normally ceremonial roles, as the General Secretary of the All-Union Communist Party, the Bolsheviks holds the power. The General Secretary is supplemented by an executive committee known as the Politburo, which is elected by the Central Committee, different from the Central Executive Committee, which serves as the Legislative House, which in turn is elected at the party congresses. These committees oversee a massive bureaucracy that manages practically all aspects of life, from massive projects, such as economic development, and a propaganda machine, all the way down to the affairs of communal apartments and elementary school classes. I don't know how much text there's going to be, so we'll read a little bit more, but we'll probably get started very soon. Lenin and Leninism. The Russian Civil War resulted in a transformation of social democracy into a one-party autocracy. The state is governed by a bureaucracy built to supplement the policy of the Politburo and a central committee, which is turned supplement to General Secretary. Elections are held where the sole candidate for the given position is chosen from bureaucracy, and from the bureaucracy, a key element of Bolshevik ideology is ideological discipline called democratic centralism. Democratic centralism is a doctrine that states that party decisions are totally binding on the entire party, with the intention of eliminating factionalism. Combined with the actions of the secret police at the time, the NKVD, democratic centralist prevents opposition to the dictatorship from within the bureaucracy, even though some early factions argue against it. Before discussing Stalinism and Marxism-Leninism, Leninism itself must be explained. Lenin envisioned an elitist form of Marxism. While many Western European communists have advocated for a more decentralized and democratic state, Lenin argued that Russia did not have the right level of development for such an arrangement. Thus, Lenin argued for a vanguard party that would work to build up political consciousness and direct the proletarian revolution by eliminating the perceived economic and political enemies. This is the interpretation of Marx's dictatorship of the proletariat. During the Russian Civil War, the Bolsheviks had begun a red terror aimed at violently eliminating alleged ideological opponents through mass killings and imprisonment in concentration camps carried out by the Extraordinary Commission, the Cheka. At first, Soviet Russia was to nationalize all economic activity in order to mobilize the population to fight a civil war, called war communism. This mobilization had disastrous effect on the economy, particularly the policy of food appropriation, where crops were forcibly confiscated from peasants, extended the imperial practice, as this had contributed to the aforementioned famine. War communism was entirely reversed in 1922 when the new economic policy took over, allowing individuals to engage in private enterprise in order to rebuild industry, and this was abandoned in 1928. I don't know how much I don't know how much there is. We'll read one more, and we'll see if this is the last one here, but we'll see. Though claiming to be a formalized extension of Lenin's ideas, Marxism-Leninism is in fact the imposition of Stalin's position onto Leninism, which Stalin had already influenced for Lenin's death. It can safely be called Stalinism. Due to Stalin's successful assumption of autocratic power, Marxism-Leninism is the state ideology. We've been engaged in internal class war for many years. In the USSR, the term class is not referred to different echelons of wealth, but different occupations. The workers, poor peasants, middle peasants, the kulaks, intellectuals, technical specialists, bureaucrats, etc. are all considered to be different classes. Stalin has rejected the shmika, or the collaboration between the peasant and worker classes, in favor of an all-out caste conflict. National laws discriminate against and encourage universal ostracization of those declared to be class enemies and their families. It can be understood that anybody who is not a worker, collective farmer, or bureaucrat. This war has also been extended to the clergy. Though religion is not technically illegal, the state has engaged in a campaign to limit religious belief. Religious ministers and land use for such purposes are heavily taxed, and the servers of cults are openly denied privileges, such as permission to live in cities. In reality, priests and other clergy members have been arrested en masse, and many religious buildings, such as churches, have been destroyed. The party's socially conservative policies have been supplanted any progress Lenin made. The Lenin's government improved the rights of women and discouraged ethnic bigotry. Stalin instead slowly encroaching on gender equality, and those close to Stalin know he harbors resentment towards some ethnicities, particularly the Jews. Okay, this is the last one, and then we can actually get started. In 1928, the new economic policy was versed in favor of total nationalization and state planning, in the form of the 5-year plans. These were meant to forcibly industrialize the more rural country. Though the Soviet press reports huge successes, there have been these are generally exaggerated. The first 5-year plan has not been totally completed, and a real success has been built on the backs of prison labor with immense loss of life. The 5-year plans are also poorly managed, as the production quotas have turned out to be grossly overdemanding. Collectivization has proved to be the most damaging policy at all. The party has been trying to integrate privately owned land into collective farms, which would be owned by those working on it, and state farms, which would be state-owned. Despite these official definitions, both collective and state farms are run by the state bureaucracy, with no meaningful differences. Collectivization has been imposed using forced methods such as shock brigades, meant to get peasants to join collective farms by any means. Concurrent with this policy, dekulakization, kulak is a derogatory term given to so-called wealthy peasants, which in reality means that anybody who is not starving. Those peasants, by solemn decree, are the best deported to the east and are worst shot by the NKVD. This policy alone has caused hundreds of thousands of deaths at least. Collectivization, though ideologically correct, according to the state, has so far not benefited anybody. It is meant to benefit landless peasants, but there are very few landless peasants, and the peasants that have grown quite opposed to social transformation. Many peasants started protesting peacefully, though turned violent when the situation failed to improve. People are committing sabotage and even resorting to murder. Despite these failures, the Soviet government has continued to push on, the result of which has been a major famine stretched from Ukraine all the way to Kazakhstan. The repression has ensured that a large section of the population have become opposed to the Bolshevik party, and crime wave with his nation. Although Stalin's authority is not absolute, or is nearly absolute, incidences such as the 1932 Rutan affair show that there's still opposition to his rule at the highest levels, and he's getting a little bit worried. So we're about like halfway through the episode. What can we do? We have the Red Army, Soviet Navy, Air Forces. Typically, I think these are kind of like the worst ones to go for. You do add a free technology though, so that's not bad. The Italian-Soviet Pact, the issue of collectivization, and the second 5-year plan. I mean, this unlocks decisions for us, so you might want to get that done a little bit earlier. We have 4 technology slots. Let's go. Well, first things first. Research speed. You are not useful. Engines, 34? I mean, I guess it's 1 year ahead of time, huh? Production efficiency cap. Then we're going to go for factory output. Go for, yeah, construction speed. All, you know, basic industry tech, I think, are usually the best way to start. We have a bunch of factories. We have 92 total. 27, 6, 59. Let's go with a few military factories. Let's build them a little bit inland just in case of a world war. Just hypothetically speaking, if that were to happen. And how is equipment looking? We have not enough of everything. Okay, so that's not great. We've double U, triple U, 1 more light tank, 1 more motorized, a few more planes. And why not also get interwar bombers? We'll build 1 of you, 1 of you. And I think that should be good for now. By 1939, we should be where we need to be. I would imagine so, at least. Free dockyards. Let's also get some convoys started for obvious reasons. So how many troops do we actually have? We have 138 divisions. We have 30 ships, 716 planes. Overall, obviously, that's pretty good for us. Let's get everybody. So you guys are basically going to be the Western Front. You guys can be the Eastern Front. Yeah, and then you guys can be under one leader here. I changed your insignia, which is not really what I wanted to do, but that's okay. Assign a leader. Actually, I shouldn't be assigning, like, the best generals. Because the Japanese front is going to be, definitely less fought over, I would imagine. Put you guys in charge, that seems fine. Turn off the fog of war. So you guys can be here. Don't put troops into Mongolia right now. Shrink your line down. You guys can basically go to here. Purple Army can kind of cover the rest of the ground just fine. Yeah, and you are going to be in a new theater. And you are going to be... ...2020... So you still have slightly too many. There we go. So that seems decent enough. So I have 5 armies. And then put you into one. Underneath one general. Who's the best? 4454. We'll assign you for now. And kind of just put in like the best leaders we can. 564. 665 is pretty good. Yes, I'll get all of you. So where are these troops going to be? We'll put one on the Romanian border. One on the Polish border. One on the Finnish border. Yeah, so just have our troops like basically here. We shouldn't need to worry about Turkey, I'm pretty sure. Operation NECA. Japan has declared war on you. I'm not too worried. I mean, I'm a little bit worried about that because Japan eventually... I mean, we'll probably go to war with Japan at some point. Yeah, we got an Army and Navy experience. We're turning in new members, issue passports, we get a little bit more stability. We have like no political power. We're only getting 0.36 per day, which is basically garbage, I think. And you're gonna give us 2 bonuses to industry. So what else do we have in here? We got 1 civilian factory, which is it really isn't like actually that great. Yeah, we'll try to get as much of this stuff done as possible. The problem is, like, trying to focus on too many things will probably prove to be an issue. I know eventually, like, it looks like we're kind of limited in terms of focuses, but eventually, this will kind of expand a little bit more as we get further and further along into the game. I have no idea how long it's going to take to, actually make it to the World War. The crisis of the Proletarian Dictatorship. In addition to our economic issues, a recent political scandal has threatened the very foundation of our state. In 1932, old Bolshevik and Bukharin supporters, Metra and Rutrin, published a platform called Stalin and the Crisis of the Protalian Dictatorship, in which Rutrin called for peace with the peasants and the forceful end of Stalin's dictatorship. He went as far as to call for Trotsky's reinstatement into the Communist Party. Rutrin's faction, the Union of Marxist-Leninists, operated in secret for nearly 3 months, but was betrayed by an informer. The Presidium of the Central Control Commission and Politburo authorized the destruction of Rutrin's computers and allowed Comrade Stalin to remove the traitor from the party. Gregory Ziniev and Lev Kemev, both old-school associates of Lenin, have been found to have read the platform and were expelled the month after these provocateurs were exiled to the Urals. This incident demonstrated 2 things. First, it showed that Comrade Lenin was wise to include democratic centralism as part of our power structure, so he had the legal means to deal with traitors like Rutrin. Second, a Comrade Stalin's precarious position clear. If Rutrin could secretly engage in factionalism, who knows how many others are also engaging in such conspiracies. So now we are, of course, now we have -8 political power. Thank you very much. Don't worry about you. Let's not train up more units. Until we can at least deal with our supply issues, there's no reason to build more units. Also, I don't like this square because it's slightly different than normal. There we go. Let's keep it as the default symbols. And we could spend our points upgrading these guys. We have 16 command power. We could make you a little bit better as well. You already got offensive doctrine. Reinforcement rate, combined arms. How many tanks do you guys have? You have 10? You know, let's become a Panzer expert. That seems fine. Okay, so let's go with the issue of collectivization. Now, do we want to halt it or do we want to continue? You do give us a little bit of a debuff. Stability goes up. It looks like we get a little bit more stability through you. Consumer goods go up for about a year. So you might halt collectivization for now and restore the rights for the more stability. Because right now we're at 46%. We are losing a lot of stability in a lot of different fields here. Your organization goes down, which is not great. Liberals form a government in Norway. Don't think we care. You're just a lot of penalties. You're a lot of penalties. Stability and war support goes down, and you are the crime wave, which we need to deal with at some point, for sure. Issue of collectivization. There's no doubt that in the pure Bidro that collectivization is very successful, especially because Comrade Stalin will not let there be any doubt. However, our temporary moratorium has only resulted in about 5% of farmlands becoming collectivized last year. The debate is thus, should we re-intensify collectivization efforts, or should we declare an end to the program and let the country recover? Okay, let's stop for now. Let's halt it for the time being. And then we're going to continue with this, because we don't... I mean, we kind of go, like, somewhat historical here. It looks like FDR has been inaugurated as president. Because you help us fight the crime wave... the crime wave. NKVD and the people. Reorganized districts. What else do we have in here? Training time goes down. A little bit less factory output. Training time I usually don't... I personally don't really care about it too much. One way or the other. Okay, Japan assigned a white peace. It looks like the Republic of China is taking over a lot of territory. And who's on our faction right now? We got Tuvan, we got Mongolia. And that right now seems to basically be it. Nobody else is really getting involved right now. Because they have Poland. Like, does everybody have, like, trees here? It looks like Poland does. Czechoslovakia. I mean, actually, are you the default? The default tree? Yeah, no, this is the default tree. Okay. So, you are now fascist. Germany has now been like, or no, Hitler's chancellor. Paul von Hindenburg is going to die very, very soon. Once the, what is it, the Reichstag fire takes place. Also, we should be preparing invasions here. Just getting some organization up and running. You guys will push your way maybe towards Warsaw. Orange Army pushes away towards Riga. You're going to push your way into Estonia. And then you guys are going to make the journey into Finland. Because, like, we shouldn't lose the... Like, once the Winter War comes around, we shouldn't be taking too many penalties from that. Because... I mean, how many troops does Finland have? We don't know. Okay, that's not as great. We do need a lot of rifles to put more stuff there. Aircraft. Throw everything into just the one big pile. Yeah, so combine you. You're all going to fly over Finland. And I'm assuming, yeah, we have a handful of planes over here. You're going to just fly over the Russian Far East. And that should be okay. You guys as well. You need some basic plans. Push here. And you're going to push like that. How many troops does Manchukuo have? We also don't know. Okay, excellent. You know, who needs to know? I don't need to know. I'm fine with things being a secret. So if we start a second 5-year plan, we have until, what, 1938 to see it to completion, which I think we should have enough time to actually do. I think. So what's everybody else doing? France is cutting veteran pensions. You guys are preventing child abuse. Because right now, you guys are liberal, conservative, social democratic. We'll probably want to intervene in the Spanish Civil War once it actually happens. But again, we have about, what, 3 years until that actually happens? Finish the White Sea Canal. Okay. Why not? So we need to complete everything. We'll abort if Second Russian Civil War. Let's try to make sure that doesn't happen. How many? We need all of them finished. Otherwise, we're going to be taking some penalties, which is not great. Paraguay and Bolivia are at war. I didn't actually even know they went to war. Can't do this until January. Okay, so I guess if that's the case, we'll just do a little bit more of our 5-year plan. The Chaco War. I don't know they actually went to war over here. But they're going to try to fight over this province. You guys are conservative. You guys are liberal. So I don't think we really have much stake in this war in South America. Killing nobody down here. I mean, I guess I can actually just check in... Not subjects. We want to go to country list. Is anybody Leninist other than us? There's China. But that's basically it. There's a handful of social democratic countries, but that's really about it. Yeah, so there's just you down here. Led by Bogo. Bogo? I'm not too sure I actually pronounce it, because I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong. You're only slightly ahead of time. 1.5 years is a little bit too much for us to pay, I think. Let's go for Improved Infantry Equipment 1. Follow that up with Land Doctrine. I guess I'll go for Pocket Defense. I mean, actually, no, 418 days, very expensive. Infantry Breakthrough. You know what? You're actually just pretty good. Yeah, Pocket Defense, we don't really need it in the grand scheme of things. But I do think that at least for right now, it's going to be a good time for us to end this episode for now. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, my thumbs up. Not enjoying, close thumb down. You want to more, subscribe, and goodbye.